today, since we had some extra time, I figure what we could do is we could talk about some of the more recent popular comic books that got released within the last month. The first one I thought of was our recent interaction by reading Ant-Man. Nick Spencer wrote, was it The Astonishing Ant-Man? Was that what it was called, or was it just Ant-Man? No, it was Ant-Man Second Chance Man. That's what we read.
That's what it was.
Ant-Man. Okay. I was impressed with the writing, and then we find out that he took over the reins on Spider-Man, one of the characters that I'm currently actually on a pull list for. I haven't read anything until today, where I said, hey, let's get together. We'll read that first issue of Spider-Man written by Nick Spencer and give our thoughts. Ronnie, you said you'd already read it.
Yes, sir.
I read the first part. I know that the first story, I think, is written by him. I don't know if the second story is or not, because it's split up. It's a bigger issue.
I think it is.
Okay. Well, I only read the first story. So if you guys want to just stick with that, we can. If you guys want to kind of tell me what happens in the second part, great. Whatever.
Yeah, I read the first part, and then in the second part, somebody vomits bugs, and I stopped reading.
Why did you stop reading on that?
We've actually just discussed this on the Metal Hammer of Doom Extra.
You read all of Lobo Highway to Hell, but a little bit of bug vomiting, and you're out.
Yep, done. It's bug vomiting is to me what the words penis and tits are to you, sir. I'm done.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and we'll talk about it here. We've all had a chance to read Spider-Man #1, written by Nick Spencer. I'm going to bring it up here just so I can see it. So,
what would you say the most synonymous name with Spider-Man in the recent history of Spider-Man would be?
Dan Slott is most recently one of the more prolific writers of Spider-Man.
Right.
But if
you were to pick one person out,
are you driving at Stanley? Is that what you're going?
I'm driving at Brian Michael Bendis.
Oh, okay, all right. So you're obviously talking about Ultimate Spider-Man here.
Ultimate Spider-Man. He wrote Spider-Man in the Avengers. He wrote dialogue for Spider-Man. If I think of someone who could get the quips and the jokes and the funny and the soul of Spider-Man, I think of there are other names, of course, that pop up, like J. Michael Straczynski, yes, and Dan Slott and a few others. But Brian Michael Bendis to me really got who Spider-Man was with the with the jokes and the pop culture references and things, just little things, little nuances that he would add that made me really enjoy it. Brian Michael Bendis, of course, if you're up on comic book news, is no longer working for Marvel. He is now working for the rival of Marvel, which is DC Comics, and he's writing one of their most popular heroes, Superman.
Yeah.
And I can say that as much as I love Brian Michael Bendis, after reading this, got his work cut out for him.
Oh, really now?
Yes. I enjoyed this quite a bit.
Quite a bit, okay.
Quite a bit.
Well, did you recognize the art?
There have been so many artists on Spider-Man that I've seen. I always think I recognize the art, but I don't really.
How about, okay, I'm going to throw this name out to you. You tell me if you recognize it. Ryan Otley.
I recognize the name, but if you tell me, if you ask me to tell you what he's drawn, I would probably wiki it real quick.
Invincible.
That's yes.
So yeah, they brought Ryan Otley over to draw Spider-Man along with Nick Spencer,
and that's why I liked it. I'm a big Invincible fan.
Yes, you are. So yeah, man. Mark, you had a chance to read this before the podcast. What'd you think of it?
I don't understand what we're doing with Spider-Man now, because he's at least 100 years old. I'm just very confused, because this seemed to have followed... They acknowledged stuff that happened in the 616 universe, where he was once married to Mary Jane, and he did have a graduate degree from ESU, and most recently, I believe he had his own company that I guess he had for about 5 minutes, because this is saying it's gone now.
Yeah.
Parker Luck.
Yeah,
exactly.
I don't... How does the schmuck still have... nothing going his way? How is this still a thing for Spider-Man? You know what we haven't done with Spider-Man? Make everything in his life suck. No, that was the premise of Spider-Man in 1960. We're still doing this? And how the fuck old is Aunt May? Aunt May is a watcher. That woman is so old and so ancient, Thanos is going to give up the Infinity Gauntlet to absorb her body.
Swerve, bro. Aunt May's death.
Swerve, bro. I don't understand what your problem is with this, though.
My problem is that between the look of the comic and the way the plot was handled, this felt like a Disney XD cartoon.
Okay. Oh, get over it.
Oh, get over it. No, I will not. This sounds like this is like if you were trying to introduce someone to Spider-Man for the first time who didn't know about the 50 years prior of Spider-Man comics.
Hey, Mark, what was the number on the book?
I don't know. Marvel puts out number ones every month.
You know, I can't argue that.
I win. Thank you very much.
No, you don't win. No, you don't.
Source material out.
Mike.
I don't understand why you have such a problem with this. Because, I mean, his doctorate and everything was not legit. Even his company wasn't really legit. Because it wasn't him.
I thought all the stuff went away when Marvel made a pizza out of the 616 and the 813 and the 2 and the 911 and.
I wonder if there's a Marvel 911 universe. I've got to look that up right now.
Yes, they're all rescue workers.
The Hulk is a sexy fireman.
It's just him with no shirt on with suspenders holding a fire axe.
Anywho.
I mean, there's a lot of things they were supposed to get rid of when they made the pizza, but they didn't. It didn't happen.
Yeah, a lot of that continuity kind of stuck around. A lot of the history stuck around because the character stuck around.
You know, you can't have that character without some of that history.
Wait, what happened to the Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, where like he has a kid?
Still happened.
Where's the kid?
Oh no, that's a different a different timeline.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
We're supposed to have.
So
because of the pizza.
Okay, so Renew Your Vows is no longer a thing?
Renew Your Vows was...
It's a book.
It was like a what-if story.
You know what I liked about Renew Your Vows?
Tell me.
This was the 5 issues Secret Wars limited series. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it was Peter Parker as he should be in 2018. A middle-aged old fuck with a teenage daughter, and he's trying to keep her, safe. And he's been married to Mary Jane for a long time, and they're in that, midlife marriage thing where they don't want to leave each other, but they hate each other, and because that's how middle age goes. It's just like, you know what, we're together this long, we might as well keep going. And we have this kid, and oh look, there's the Rhino. We've got to deal with, so we've got to pay bills, we've got to take care of our daughter, and occasionally a rogue shows up to fuck up Spider-Man's life. That's exactly what Renew Your Vows was, and I loved it. And now we're back to, I'm Peter Parker. I may actually be 45 years old, but I have the problems of a teenager. Nothing goes right for me. Like, ugh.
Have you ever taken a look at your track record with the books you pick out on this show and apply it to the opinion you have on good books?
Well, now,
you want me to? I can pull out the calendar and tell you how many books we've done that I've picked out that were good.
Gosh, I would rather nail my sack.
Sitting there with a hammer and a nail. He said, "Don't do it. I'll do it. I swear. I swear."
It would be less painful.
Not the schedule. Not now. So, okay. Yeah.
You can't have Spider-Man without some sort of drama in his life.
I just gave you drama. I just gave you all the drama you need for Spider-Man. 45-year-old, daughter having, trying to keep her from getting run over by the Rhino.
Yeah, if I want, everybody loves Raymond version of Spider-Man.
But that is what I want. I don't care.
I tell you what, Grandpa, drink your prune juice and we'll give it to you.
We've already done this death. At this point, I want Mysterio to convince him to walk off a fucking bridge, because I can't believe after 100 years he still can't get his shit together.
It's a return to form, Mark Radlich. A lot of people out there were not content with the way that Spider-Man was being handled. There were some things that were questionable. That you could probably name on one hand within the last, I'd say, 15 years, some of the stories that a lot, Clone Saga included. Yeah, all that stuff that just did not feel like a true to form. And I feel like what Nick Spencer is trying to get across here is that, especially with the end of that first part, where he makes that confession that he needs somebody. You can see him sitting there going on for like 2 pages about how he needs somebody in this. And I'm wondering the whole time I'm sitting there going, is it going to be MJ? Is it going to be MJ? Because that's who I wanted him making that speech to.
Yeah.
And we were pleasantly surprised to find out that it was not a Swerve Bro. It was MJ all along that he was talking to. And she was just like, she looked right at him and said, we belong together. Hello. Yeah, pretty much.
We've already done this. They were married. It was a very nice cover.
And then somebody came along and decided that needed to be changed. One More Day is a 4-part 2007 comic book crossover storyline connecting the 3 main Spider-Man series concurrently published. Okay, blah, 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 blah. After his Aunt May has been shot, Spider-Man seeks help to save her life. He encounters the demon Mephisto, who offers to save her life if Spider-Man gives him his marriage. Spider-Man and his wife, Mary Jane Watson, agree, and this part of the history is erased.
It's classic Spider-Man.
Okay, did they undo that?
He gives up what he loved. No.
So that
no, they didn't. They never undid it.
So that asshole story that nobody likes is still continuity.
Yes, sir.
But now they're fixing it by getting them back together.
The decision is the decision is to abruptly end Peter Parker and Mary Jane's marriage, and the events of One More Day were heavily criticized upon the series' conclusions. Although the artwork received praise. So yes,
yeah, it was a very pretty.
Can I pitch an idea? Then can we do like Spider-Man Big Love? Can we do Spider-Man Big Love and bring Gwen Stacy back to life? Can we do that? And he marries both of them. I'd like to see Peter Parker the Polygamist. Can we do that book?
So many things wrong with you, Mark.
Spider-Man. That's the book I want to see pitched by Marvel. Spider-Man Big Love.
In 2010, Joe Quesada wrote a sequel storyline, One Moment in Time. This story established that the only actual change Mephisto wrought upon the timeline was allowing a criminal to escape custody, causing a butterfly effect that prevented Peter and Mary Jane's marriage, as Peter was delayed in reaching the wedding, prompting Peter and MJ to reconsider marriage. Now, from what I recall, it's been a while since I've read Spider-Man 2. Here's the thing: I don't know a whole lot, but they haven't been together at all. I think they tried
for a long time.
And then he was actually dating. I think near the end of Dan Slott's run, he was trying to date elsewhere. He had his own company, just like he mentions in the book, which was Parker Industries, I think. And there were, for a little bit, there was even a storyline that was, Peter was doing great. He had his own company. He was doing.
He dated Mockingbird. He dated a police detective. He was doing okay, and then
that all sounds interesting.
Yeah. That's probably something you would like.
It kind of came crashing down because Parker Luck.
Well, and here we are. Parker Luck that's the one thing that gets across to me, and that the one of the first notes I made was, this is a return to Parker Luck.
Ugh. I would rather nail my sack to the wall.
So Mark Radlich, as much as we liked Ant-Man, Mark Radlich does not like Nick Spencer's take on Spider-Man
Loved Ant-Man. You know why? This wasn't a return. This wasn't a return to the exact same comic from 1960.
Yeah,
that's because it's a different Ant-Man.
If this would have been, if Ant-Man would have been
returned to the Ant-Man of 1960, he'd be smacking his wife around.
And I wouldn't like that either.
I will give you my opinion. I didn't mind it. I thought it was way wordier than Nick Spencer's Ant-Man. That's for sure. There was a lot of words. There was
a lot of story to tell.
On the Kevin Smith chart, it's probably about a 5 or a 6.
I agree.
It's about a 4.
I mean, Peter gets accused of plagiarism which was interesting. And then, everybody kind of finds out about that. He loses his job at the Bugle. It sounds like the Avengers hate him. Aunt May is upset with him.
This is the Spider-Man we all know and love.
This is running in circles.
Continue, Ronnie.
Is there a point? I'm just saying that, after the highfalutin spider jet flying billionaire nerd got a little tiring, and then he lost everything, and it's just kind of like, okay, this is a little more interesting, and he was living in Mockingbird's apartment, sleeping on her couch while he was dating her, and she finally kicked him out and broke up with him. And I was like, okay, so we're going back to Peter Parker just being street level Spider-Man Peter, and that's kind of where we're going to. He's got to go back to college now because they found out that they're blaming him for plagiarism, which, he was profiting off of something that he didn't do. All of his success came from Dr. Octopus, Otto Octavius, when he transferred his consciousness into Peter Parker's body. And I realize how silly that sounds as I'm talking, but it's a comic book, so we'll just go with it. The way he wrote everything, it was all Otto Octavius, but he stood on it, and he ran the company, and he stayed with his his higher his degrees in higher education and everything. When it's all going to come crashing down anyway, because he's not Dr. Octopus. He's Spider-Man. There is some tragedy with his with his heroics. There always has been. That's what makes Spider-Man Spider-Man. I'm
just going through the second part of this issue, and I made it past the vomiting bugs, Mark. There's some crazy stuff. He's got the gags. Here it comes. But yeah.
After all we've read, it's the bug vomiting that gets you.
he gets the gags.
He's gagging a little.
Oh boy! All right, so okay,
Mark, I got to ask you a question. You got the gags. Are you going to vomit bugs?
No, I'm not going to vomit bugs.
That's good.
Cherry Coke
All
Zero,
right.
maybe, but.
Well, that's our thoughts on
vomit bugs.
Our thoughts on Spider-Man #1, written by Nick Spencer, art by Ryan Otley. So let's go ahead. We'll get into our discussion about Batman #50. Now, Mark, you wanted to talk about this one, so I give you the table, sir. What'd you think of this? Now, I'm going to bring up the issue because I need to know who the creative team is. I know #1, our writer is Tom King.
He's going to be at Raleigh SuperCon. What?
As for art, the art is all over the board because every single, I think there's like
every single page is drawn by somebody different.
There's two page splashes, I believe. This is a book that I kind of want to own. So, Mark, I just wanted to get the creative team out of the way. This is the marriage between Catwoman and Batman. Go, Mark Radulich.
I've enjoyed. Are you all right?
They got to get married. Haven't we done this song and dance before?
Well,
no, we haven't. I realize that.
Yeah, I was going to say he's never been married, but all right, sure. Well, since you brought it up, I was really excited for Batman and Catwoman to marry, and then they were like, oh, look, it's the status quo. Peter Parker always has to have bad luck, and Batman always has to be single. Terrific. Why do I even read comics?
Man, this was
gay. G-A-E, gay. All right, that's what this was.
So you're mad, you're upset about the ending.
Okay, so they wrote each other a letter, and you know what? Men are just suckers because bitches be whores. Okay, that is what I got out of this book. Okay,
common theme.
Batman writes a letter. I'm gonna try to love you and get to know you, and she writes a letter. Well, you're kind of an asshole, and in order to be a superhero, you have to be a lonely asshole fuck. So good luck, and she leaves him at the aisle. That's the sum total of that book. And it's like, and I was reading it, and I wanted to throw the iPad when I was done. I was like, you've known this man for as long as Peter Parker's been alive. Okay? You've known Batman for 1,000 years. You know what he's like. This should not have, they wrote this as if she has this come to Jesus moment where she's like, oh my God, if I do this, I'll ruin Batman. You would have known that well before almost getting married, you twat. It's just so annoying. Why, like...
Letters can be addressed to Mark Radlich. Care of Radlich Broadcasting Network.
Look, I'm at Mark Radlich on Twitter. Come at me, bro. I don't give a shit.
Boy. Oh, boy.
I just...
Well...
I don't understand, like, why there's a necessity. There was just a whole mine, a whole string of stories that could have been written about this next phase of his life, and instead we're right back where we started with fucking Batman. And the only little hook, the only little thing that made it even a bit interesting was that this has all been... I don't know, and it's to a degree that Catwoman's even in on it. We're not entirely sure yet. But at this point... This is Bane fucking with Batman, which is kind of interesting. Like, he physically broke the bat in Nightfall, and now he's mentally trying to break the bat, realizing that the bat's body will... The bat, much like Lobo and Deadpool, will always regenerate. But if you really want to hurt the Batman, you have to hurt his heart. You have to hurt his mind. You have to hurt him internally. So that being said, I'm interested to see where it's going, and I'll continue the Tom King run, because I've really liked it up to this point. I just think that's a poor way to write that. That is a poor representation of Catwoman, because at this point, I don't see how, personality-wise, she would have made the decision to marry him, and then have this sudden realization, if I marry him, I'll ruin him. Mm-hmm. I don't believe it. That feels to me like the writer's going, fuck, we can't really marry off Batman. We'll ruin the character. Like, meh.
Have you heard about the big controversy in regards to the release of this issue with the New York Times and all that?
Yeah, they printed spoilers.
Yeah, they printed spoilers. Not only that, Jordan from Kapow voiced his concerns. Now, Jordan owns his own comic shop, and he has to deal with making decisions on what books to get. Okay. Now, when the solicits come for this, it's in previews and it says Batman and Catwoman are getting married. Nobody tells the distributors, or the distributors don't tell the comic book shops, hey, this is how this story is going to end. That doesn't come across. No. What they say is exactly what you see in the previews mag. They're going to get married. It's issue 50. Oh, my goodness, the wedding of Catwoman and Batman. So comic book shop owners make a decision to order more of a book based on how popular they think it's going to be. This was a popular issue, so much so that Mark Radlich wanted to really read this. You said that. Justin Thomas, yesterday, sitting on the couch, said, man, I really want to read that issue. People were wanting to get a hold of this. And then the New York Times, somebody leaks that shit to the New York Times, and two days before, like 2 or 4 days before it gets released, the New York Times comes out and says, oh, yeah, by the way, it's not happening.
I gotta read this to you. I gotta read this. This is a comment on Goodreads. 1 star. This issue should be renamed Batman How Not to Write an Arc 101. Contrary to most people, I'm not disappointed that the wedding didn't happen. DC stands for Divine Cowards, after all. It's no surprise they refuse to change their main title's dynamic. The recipes worked for ages. Do not try and shake things up, God forbid. Even though I had a tiny bit of hope, it's them going for it that would have been surprising. Therefore, the wedding not happening left me indifferent. Yeah, pretty much.
Well, the other thing is that Tom King has come out and said, look, you guys stick with me here. There's a bigger plan. There's more that I have in store. Do not get discouraged by what has occurred here, because he is planning on writing. This is all a big thing into his plan. I think. I wish I could remember how many issues he said he had written, but I'm thinking of what.
One.
Okay, somebody.
I think it was like 50.
Somebody on Goodreads named Tony Stark. His only comment, 1 star. Well, this can fuck right off.
All right. Ronnie, I'm going to give my opinion, and I'm going to turn you loose. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So here's my thought on this book. I did enjoy reading it. First off, it was an oversized issue, but it had it had a great concept going when it comes to the art. Where they did the 2-page splash and a new artist drawing Batman and Catwoman. Just about each, there had to have been at least 10 different takes.
The cover of this with them, with her in the wedding dress and them wearing the mask and everything. I want a poster of that, and I want to hang it at my house. I want it framed. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
And let me say this. It's not that I hated the issue. I mean, it's not like Nick Spencer's Spider-Man or anything, which was hot garbage on a stick. It might as well. Again, it was an introduction to a Disney XD cartoon. This I thought was at least well written. This seems to have been written by an adult. It's just an adult with no backbone.
We know who Tom King is. Tom King wrote Vision, the story that we really enjoyed. We've talked about Batman and fucking Elmer Fudd, for shit's sake. That somehow... written by Tom King. Yeah, written by Tom King. I mean, come on. I'll tell you what first drew me to the art when I was scrolling down. And I saw I knew it was Frank Miller Batman. And I was like, whoa, wait a second. He was like the second splash page on here. And I was like, well, okay, this is going to be neat if they keep this up. And that's one of the things I really enjoyed about the issue was going down, reading through it, and it was not cumbersome. It was I made it through the issue a lot quicker than I did the first half of Spider-Man. I enjoyed reading it, and as I went through looking at the art, this is, like I said, a book that I actually would love to get my hands on and own a copy of, just to have the art and it's like, man, take a look at this, take a look at this. You don't see this often in comics, and this was a big event. This was something that was, a lot of people were anticipating. I'm certain that this was probably promoted at least 2 months prior to it happening. So people knew what was going to happen. But again, the art was great. Being able to see those two characters conceptualized in the pages by many different artists, especially Jim Lee at the end. I think it was Jim Lee I knew Jim Lee had to be in this piece. And I'm pretty certain his was the final, one of the final ones that was put in here. Maybe not. There's Greg Capullo, Lee Weeks. So yeah, I guess I was incorrect. But either way, I knew Jim Lee was going to be in here. I liked it. I liked the ending. I think it was a great twist, kind of an ending, even though we didn't see the marriage go through.
What a twist!
What a twist! It was Holly Robinson. Holly Robinson, a girl that goes by the name of Holly Golightly, apparently, and she was once known as Catwoman as well. So that was the blonde lady that put the bug in her ear. It's all about her putting the bug in her ear and making her not go through with it. So what do you think's going to happen after this, Mark? Do you think the Bat's just going to go? Is he going to be pissed and he's going to start taking it out on criminals? Or, I mean, that's I think what we're driving at here. He just got stood up at a wedding by somebody that he has loved for a very long time. You cannot tell me that isn't a great impetus for some stories to come out here.
I'm willing to continue reading it to see where this is going. And maybe it'll all turn out okay. I just feel like... I know that this is a common problem with like wrestling fans where there's a result that happens in a match and they go, oh, fuck this company, we hate you, Vince McMahon, blah, blah, yakety schmackety. And it's like, okay, but if you'd be patient, you'd see it's all going to turn out okay. You know, it's like the old bark like a dog, Trish. And it was, and people were like, "What the fuck?" It's like, well, take it easy. It's all gonna turn around. Here's the problem, though. There's a lot more bad than there is good, and there's a lot more situations like this. I mean, Ronnie, off the top of your head, if I asked you to, I bet you can name 10 things you were disappointed by, that were setups to something else in a DC comic. Not to mention the amount of times they blew the universe up. So, and syphilis came and infected everybody. So,
the great tormentor of the DC universe.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying that this may all end with them getting married at some point, but for right now, I'm bummed it didn't happen. I'm curious to see where this is going, though. Here's the thing. Her reasoning, as written by Tom King, didn't add up to me. I think that's the point. more than anything else, is that I don't buy what he's selling. And had it been written better, had it been written differently, and we got the same result, I would have been able to accept it. Because again, I am willing to see where they're going with this, and and where they've gone with other stories, that turned out okay. The problem is, I just don't buy her reasoning. It's like, in order for you to be the great man that you are, you have to continue to be miserable. I don't think she'd come to that conclusion, and if she did, I don't think she would have agreed to marry him in the first place. So I think it was a swerve, bro.
And if another thing to bounce off kind of what you were saying, if they promote like 25 issues later, you're not going to buy into it the second time it goes around. This isn't going to happen again. I don't think that this is happening again, and if it does, it's for a very long time. But no, I don't think they're going to get married, and I think Tom King will be done writing the book before that is even thought of for these two characters to become married again. So, all right, Ronnie Adams, please give us your thoughts on the book. We've gone on long enough.
You all are going to call bullcrap on me.
Okay.
But I saw it coming. I really didn't know. I didn't read any spoilers.
Oh,
I knew there had been spoilers released, but I didn't read them.
Okay.
I really didn't. But I could have called it because they're not. It's not going to happen. There's a lot of cool storylines you can do with that, but there are a lot more cooler storylines you can do with a single Batman who's angry.
Yeah, he can stalk criminals at night in the shadows. And he can wait, that's been done. Oh, maybe he can have a ward. Ooh, maybe he can take on a young boy that'll live in his house and he'll adopt. Or here's a thought: maybe he can have his own biological
Mark,
son.
I don't like doing the show with you anymore. You're just being mean now.
What did we praise Tom King for in the Vision miniseries?
I can't see straight.
Writing a really good story.
Angry.
We praised him for writing. This was the Vision trying to hold down a normal life, and so a lot of it revolved around the relationships with his family. What's going to hook us probably for the next 10 issues is his relationship with Catwoman. I think that's probably what we're going to see.
I think seeing what Bane's ultimate plan is.
Okay, but he's going to be so pissed at Catwoman that he won't be able to see straight. He won't be able to probably figure out Bane's behind it all.
I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if he's gonna be pissed at her.
Nope. He's.
I have this sneaking suspicion we're gonna see Batman, as written as like what do I have to do to get you back, and he's gonna turn into Thanos, a la the Infinity Gauntlet.
Oh no, he won't. Tom King will get so much crap if something like that happens.
I would willing to bet money.
Okay, Ronnie, tell me about the art. What'd you think of the art?
It was a beautiful book.
Quick comparison. What did you like better, the Batman number 50 or Spider-Man number 1?
Spider-Man number 1. Mm-hmm.
Mark Radulich?
The artwork in The Wedding is gorgeous.
Yeah,
a lot of it.
Well, I'm going to have to side here with the Mark Radulich and say
that's because your show is on his network.
That is not the case. That is not the case. I made it through this really quick. It told a good story. It had me, even though I did know what was going to happen, I was involved with what was being written and how we were going to get to that point. I did not see the end coming with Bane, much like Spider-Man, but I think Bane's the bigger cliffhanger, in my opinion, rather than Mary Jane.
I enjoy Bane being behind this because Bane is not who he's not my first choice in being the
mastermind
behind much of anything, especially when he just breaks stuff.
Exactly.
Give me something to break.
Thank you, Fred Durst.
Behind the mask, Fred Durst.
I would pay good money if Fred Durst. I would pay good money if Bane took off his mask and it was Fred Durst.
He's just breaking backs left and right. Give me something to break.
Bane did it all for the nookie.
Wonderful.
It's definitely somebody different than like Penguin or Riddler or somebody you would expect to do something like this. Yeah. You would expect not Joker, because Joker would just try to blow the wedding up. But
I heard he went on a rampage because he wasn't invited.
That's funny.
I don't read Batman, but that's what I've heard from a couple podcasts.
That sounds like the Joker.
Yes, sir.
That's really funny. I like the fact that they're using Bane for the big bad, for lack of a better term, in this, because he's not been used to his full capacity, in my opinion, here as of late.
Yeah,
he was a good villain to break the bat, and then they just kind of left it at that. He's just this muscle bound luchador that just punches things really hard.
Yeah. All right, boys. Well, I think we have done this discussion a good one. How's that? We discussed a good one here.
I upset Ronnie.
Oh, Ronnie will be fine. He goes to bed hurt every Monday night.
Don't you tell me how to live my life, Jesse Starcher.
Don't you tell him I'm fine. I'm not fine. This has been our discussion of Spider-Man #1 and Batman #50. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope all you Patreons enjoyed. The patrons enjoyed the
Are you okay?
extra bonus. I'm ready to go to bed is what it is. It's 11:20. I didn't get much sleep last night. I think I might have a toothache. I don't know. I woke up last night and my temple, like upside my temple, was hurting and not like it.
I want all of our fans to know, Mark and I may argue, but we still love each other.
Oh, that's right. The love is in the air tonight.
Love is in the air. Yeah, da 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 da. Love is in the air.
And we only argue because you misbehave.
And we only argue because it's your fault.
Yeah.
Ronnie Adams.
Yep.
Plug away, sir.
I had a show.
One time.
Named the Scream Boy Podcast. It's still, I mean, in theory, it's still a show because I really want to do another episode and keep doing episodes, but I have to get my computer fixed, and no one really knows how to fix it right now. So, short of taking it to Apple and promising my firstborn, I don't know what to do. So, but I have a show called Scream Boy Podcast, and it is a lot of fun. It is a silly, fun pop culture podcast where we talk about TV, movies, comic books, just about anything you want to talk about. The 80s, we do a lot of stuff on the 80s, which is a lot of fun. Our childhood nostalgia, which reminds me, we did a show. It was an exclusive to the Radulich and Broadcasting Network, where we talked about Toys R Us closing and how that affected us as grown men. But which made us all really, really sad. It's actually truly a tragic loss in my childhood. Loved Toys R Us, and we also did a show that makes on a topic that raises the blood pressure of the disapproving dad, Jesse Starcher, where we talked about what's up, Netflix, what you doing, what are you thinking? Movie Pass, Netflix. We love Netflix. There's nothing wrong with Netflix.
Episode coming soon. We love Netflix.
There's nothing wrong with Netflix.
Netflix.
Keep giving
all
me
right.
that good Stranger Things, my friend. What's up, Movie Pass? Where
Yes.
Movie Pass is a subscription where you sign up and they pay for your movies, one movie every day for a month. In theory, that's what they're offering, but they have done a lot of changes to their terms of service. So we go over a few of those, and they have thus changed once again since the show. But we talk about that, and we go over Jesse's concerns, and he rages a little bit. It's kind of fun to listen to Jesse rage. You find that is also a Radulich and Broadcasting Network exclusive, so you find it right here. Both of them are featuring, of course, Jesse Starcher and the patriarch of the Radulich and Broadcasting Network, Mr. Marcus Quincy Radulich, Esquire. I don't know what Esquire means, but it sounds cool. But so go over to Facebook, search us out by searching Scream Boy Podcast, and then you can go on Twitter, Instagram, and I think we even have a Snapchat we don't use. You can find us on any social media. We have lots of cool pictures from past Comic-Cons. I'm going to the Raleigh SuperCon on the last weekend of July, so there'll be more cool pictures on our Instagram coming up. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I get to meet Ralph Macchio and William Zabka of Karate Kid fame and get their autographs and talk to them. A lot of other cool people like William Shatner, Dave Bautista, Sean Gunn, the young lady who played Mantis,
Granite.
Pomegranate.
Palm A Granite.
Palm A Granite. Karen Gillian.
Karen Gillian.
Yeah, she's going to be there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
she's so fine.
She is. And she's Scottish as well.
Oh, I know.
The Watchmen.
Me, I know, buddy.
The Watchmen.
So,
V for Vendetta.
She is not in either one of those. But
appearing at the con is The Watchmen. V for Vendetta.
If I walk in, there's big posters for those. I'm taking them, and I will immediately pay for Mark's plane ticket to come up. I'll pay for his hotel, his plane ticket, everything, just to have him there so I can take a picture of him with 2 thumbs up and tag Jesse on Facebook. So give us a like, subscribe, check us out here on the network. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, and iHeart. We're out there. Go find us.
All right, very good. Now, Mark Radulich, the Patriarch.
So, when this airs on the Radulich Broadcasting Network, you'll hear it.
You act like he doesn't have anything to plug.
It's a ruse. It's all a ruse.
This week on the Radulich Broadcasting Network, we'll have podcasts. One of which...
I did say keep them general, didn't I?
We do stuff.
General So's podcast.
Back to you, Jesse.
We'll be reviewing Mission Impossible Fallout. Myself and Jesse Starcher will review D. Snyder for the Love of Metal. And we had to reschedule another podcast. Myself and Sean Comer will finally get around to doing a TV party tonight for Glow Season 2.
Very good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, go give the Radulich in Broadcasting Network Facebook page a like to stay up on top of all the great podcasts that we have to offer. We have something out there that most likely you are interested in, whether it be movies, music. We've got comics. We've got, I'm thinking of it all here. We talk MMA. We talk wrestling sometimes. It's all out there. So, all right, Ronnie Adams over there for the Scroon Boy podcast. Tell everybody goodbye. That's right. Tell them bye.
Bye.
There you go. Mark Radulich, tell everybody bye.
Later.
All right. I'm Jesse Starcher. Ladies and gentlemen, have a good one.
And tweet the show if you don't want to hear Snagglefoot.
Exactly.
You want to put these up as like TV? What the fuck's the name of this show? Alan Moore extras. The Watchmen. V for Vendetta. League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Some extra content. This is for the Patreon subscribers. Patreon. Patronus.
Like I said, synonymous with the name, with Spider-Man, writing Spider-Man. Who would that be?
Alan Moore.
Jeez.
No.
The Nick Spencer. Hey, Nick Spencer. Nick Spencer.
Is that how you pronounce it in Appalachia?
It's Appalachia, you uncultured swine.
Oh, man. She's actually looking kind of fine now, isn't she?
If you're into Gelf, sure. Yeah, isn't that One Day More or One More Day or Les Miserables or something like that? The Ant-Man trade paperback smacked my bitch up.
Just...
All right, it's the wedding between Catman and Batwoman. Oh, shit, things have changed now. If they promote it again, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, though, okay.
Shame on you again.
Got that backwards. Either way, I'm not...
Yep. There are a lot of cool storylines that you can do with a married Catman and Catman.
Catman!
You got me doing it now.
Meow.
Jeez. That's disturbing. Gonna punch you in the nuts.